And we are back with another Monday preview. Guys, we are back. I know the setup is very different. I don't have a TR on. My bad. We are recording this from the hotel room in Seattle because we were at the game last night, which was great. But anyway, getting into the Monday preview, guys, we have three matchups this week. One on the road against the San Jose Sharks, and then two at home. One against the Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday, and then finishing off, we have Saturday night hockey, Chicago versus St. Louis. So first up, San Jose Sharks. Couple of notes at the time of recording, they're sitting fifth out of eighth in the Pacific. Their only notable injured reserve as of right now is Ryan Reeves with a hand injury out on day today. Neither team has a back to back because both teams played Saturday and then they will play Monday. Because the Pacific and really the Western Conference as a whole is completely out of whack this season, San Jose Sharks are still technically only 2 points out of the second wild card position. It seems like everybody is 1 to 2 points out of the wild card this year. But so this will definitely be a must win. Kind of every game for those handful of teams are must wins to try to get that second spot in the wild card. So this is definitely a must win for the Sharks. But as we saw during Saturday night's game, because the Seattle Kraken were also in a position where it was kind of a must win, doesn't mean the boys can't win it. And we should win it, gosh darn it. But it is going to be a heavy battle, as we saw during the last matchup, Chicago versus San Jose. San Jose definitely lacks defense. They're very, very forward heavy. Askarov's done a pretty decent job. Nedeljkovic has done a decent job. And forward wise, they are very, very, very skilled, but they definitely lack on the defensive end. So that is definitely something of note for this matchup. Like I said, so notable forwards, we've got Celebrini, Misa, Smith, and Eklund. Defensemen, you've got Dickinson, one of their younger D-core guys, and then goaltenders, like I said, is Askarov and Nedeljkovic. Unsure who will get the start for Monday. I would imagine Askarov, but it's going to be one of them. Sharks went on a bit of a skid kind of during that mid-March St. Patrick's Day time frame, but they seemed to, win, 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 lose. Couple of wins paired with a loss. And they're definitely trying to battle for that spot. So they will definitely be coming out swinging, at least at the beginning of the matchup. Another thing, and we kind of saw that, we've seen this with the last couple of games, if the Blackhawks are able to hold or have a lead, need to hold on to it. This is not a team to, go up one, go up two, and then kind of just get comfortable. So that is going to be our first matchup we've got on Monday. It's a road game. And then next up is we're finally back home at the United Center. Thank goodness. Against the Carolina Hurricanes, they are sitting 1 out of 8th in the Metro right now. Injured reserve is a little wonky. As of right now, we've got Jordan Staal on a day-to-day, Martinook on a day-to-day. Kucherov is on a day-to-day. For the longest time, people were saying that Kucherov was done, but then Kucherov was at practice skating today. So who knows if he joins the Hurricanes, if he gets sent to Chicago. We don't know. Because goaltending-wise, you've got Anderson, who is still technically healthy right now, and you've got Bussy, their new guy, and Bussy's kind of taken that place when Kucherov was out with a hip injury for a considerable period of time. But if Kucherov is planning to come back, it definitely kind of throws a curveball into Tulski's plans of what to do. The Wolves have clinched a playoff spot for the Calder Cup down in the AHL, so I wouldn't be surprised if Kucherov just gets sent down there. Also being out for a considerable period of time, it seems a little odd to, have him out for a bit and then immediately kind of throw him up in the big club. So he is coming back, unsure where he's going to go. No back-to-back for the Hawks. They actually have a 2-day rest in between because we play on Monday and then we play on Thursday. And there's no back-to-back for the Hurricanes either. Because I think we're pretty much done with back-to-backs. Uh, as I said, Canes are number one in their division right now. They've been rocking that number one in the division for a hot minute. They are good, but the last time we faced off against them, we lost in a shootout. So we definitely have the ability to compete with them. Um, they're also number one in the division, but this is definitely the time of year where those top teams tend to start shutting guys down prior to the playoffs. Not a complete shutdown, but just scaling it back in terms of, how hard you're going. You're not scaling too far back with Rod the Bod as your head coach. But you're definitely not going 110% for these last handful of games. You're kind of focusing on that first round matchup. Notable forwards for the Carolina Hurricanes include Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov, and then Jackson Blake. Defensemen, you've got Keandre Miller, Slavin, and Nikishin. And then goaltenders, as I mentioned earlier, you've got Freddie Anderson and then Brandon Bussey. Final game of the week, Chicago versus St. Louis, Saturday night at the United Center. It's going to be great. It's also the Hall of Fame, not raising any numbers into the banners, but kind of the Hall of Fame induction for the 100-year celebration. So if you're planning on watching this game, even though it says a 4 o'clock start, guys, I'd imagine it starts at 4:30, maybe 4:45. Definitely not 4 o'clock. So it'll be a very, very good game. We've got that Hall of Fame celebration, so they'll be celebrating Duncan Keith, Steve Larmer, and then Troy Murray. No injured reserve for St. Louis, aside from Torrey Krug being out for the season, which we knew back in September. It's going to be a decent matchup because, Saturday night hockey is always fun, and Chicago versus St. Louis is always fun. This is a must-win for us, just for sheer bragging rights, guys. I don't want to lose to St. Louis. I never want to lose to St. Louis. I figure the boys don't want to lose to St. Louis. No back-to-back for either Chicago or St. Louis. Both will play Thursday, and then both will play Saturday. This is going to be a huge night physically. St. Louis is definitely a bigger roster in terms of size and how they use their size. Granted, since this is post-trade deadline, hopefully nobody pulls out Connor Bedard's shoulder again. Fingers crossed, folks. But it's going to be a big night physically, so I just expect, a big night for the Creature, a big night for EDM, and then maybe a big night for Sasha. We don't know. Hopefully. Notable forwards for St. Louis, we've got Kyrou, Thomas, and Snuggerud. Defensemen, you've got Parenko, Broberg, Binnington, and Hoffer as their goaltenders. So, like I said, we've got 3 matchups. We're coming down. This is the second to last Monday preview. Maybe I'll make Krusty do the last one, folks. Yeah, he's giving me funny looks right now. So we've got 3 matchups. You got San Jose, you got Carolina, and you got St. Louis. Guys, we're almost done. It's almost over. We're past the last 15 games. We're into the last 10. So that is all, and we'll talk to you guys next week.